Hi, I'm Jessica Drenk, and I'm here in my studio in my home just outside of Rochester, New York. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about my work for Galleri Urbane. I came up with the term on edge as a title for my show because, first of all, it was sort of when I looked around at the work for the show, it was kind of a literal definition of what you were looking at when you were seeing the pieces. For instance, there's book pages, but instead of seeing like the book pages flat where you can read them, I've compiled them so that you're looking at the edge of them, the edge of the pages. And the same with junk mail and cardboard pieces, as well as these pieces here that are made out of tape. You're not seeing the end, you're seeing them on edge. So I liked that description. And then I was thinking about the connotation, the sort of emotional connotation of like being on edge and a state of agita. And that's sort of actually the opposite of how I think my work, like the emotions that my work will elicit. It's more about inspection and about looking closely and thinking about the shapes and the forms that the work takes. And so I hope that actually the work kind of takes the edge off if you're a little on edge yourself. I'd say travel is really important to me in my work because it provides a visual input. I enjoy going out into the world and seeing new landscapes and parts of nature that are different from where I'm living here in Rochester. And then I find when I go to make work that all the visual things that I take in during my travels will come back out in my work in sometimes unexpected ways. Lately, I've been going a lot to a piece of land in New Mexico that I bought pretty much for the purpose of being able to go to a beautiful spot and sit on a beautiful rock and look at more beautiful rocks. And I also end up in Iceland a lot, which has also a lot of rocks, but of different colors, different shapes. I just clearly respond to those landscapes, and they clearly fuel me and bring something to my studio practice that I couldn't get by not going there. Well, I started using this archival bookbinding tape because I had just purchased it for a different use and really liked the material of that tape. It has almost a fabric feeling to it, and kind of on its own reflects light really beautifully. So I thought that was really interesting, but I didn't think to make it into art until one day when I was searching through some of my photos I'd saved online just for inspirational sort of microscopic cellular photos, different imaging that somehow made the connection in my brain to this tape. And I thought, I could probably make a shape like that out of this tape by just the simple process of rolling the tape up and sticking it together. And that turned out to be extremely fun and rewarding when I tried it out, because it's like I can just make quick decisions about, well, how am I going to put this together? Are they going to be big rolls? Are they going to be small? Is there going to be a lot of variety between them? What's the space between them going to be like? There were all these like decisions that I could make on the fly as I was putting this together. And it just brought me a lot of joy because unlike some of my pieces, which take months and months of putting a material through many different processes until it finally emerges at the end and then I can see what I've made, this piece sort of grew on the wall as I was making it, and I just enjoyed that process. It brought me a lot of just pure creative joy. Looking closely at things is an important part of just my life. I really enjoy going out into the world and getting up close to things. I'm constantly on a hike. Wow, look at this log, it's covered with all this moss, and I will get my nose right up in there and look very closely at it. So that's like a part of the visual input that I was talking about earlier in terms of like things that fuel me creatively. But I also want that to come across in my work. So I want you, the viewer, to see that there's some detail in the piece, and I've intentionally put a lot of detail, as much detail as possible, into my work so that it asks you to come closer, to inspect that detail, and then hopefully the work rewards you for that closer inspection by maybe revealing what the piece is made out of, the material, or just like gives you something different to look at than you would when you're standing 20 feet away from the piece. Only one color for the rest of my life. It's funny that you would ask me this. I would say charcoal gray, probably. But I'm assuming that I get a grayscale as well as one color, so I will pick green because that's plants and trees that surround me in my life, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of green. I also love how green goes with gray. It's a good color combination. So I feel like I'm getting a twofer there. And though honestly, I do feel like I could just live my life in black and white. That would make me just as happy, really.